Sittner, Atlantics, and we also have in the house Wes Johnson. That just sounds like a baller. This sounds like a baller. Like you're just playing some. Jake's going, so my name doesn't sound like a baller or anything. Hey, what's up with that, dog?
What about me?
we have a running joke where I get called the wrong name in email every day.
Every day?
So I was Justin and Jason consecutive emails the other day, and I have an auto signature and worked with people for years, and it happens.
Why do they call you Justin and Jason?
I don't know. I'm not a Wes Johnson, apparently.
Well, each month, again, Jake, let me ask you this, man. Tell us about Taylor Landscapes and how'd you get started?
Yeah, so we've been around for 20 years. It's actually kind of exciting going into our 20th year, and never thought that was going to happen. Started with, working for a local company and kind of worked my way up, went to school, had no idea what I was going to do, wound up in the horticulture program. And, people know Dane Todd from being a fullback. His mom was one of my professors.
Oh, yeah.
Knew her from Lincoln Southeast. So I'm a Lincoln lifer. And, that's part of the reason why we're doing this spot all the time is, enhancing the DP thing with the community driven deal. But no, we have actually 3 companies now. And the big part of why I'm on the radio is to get a little press about the retail store that we're opening in Bennett. And, it's a place where I'm having my influence. Like I'm going to have a guy's corner. So if your wife is shopping or whatever, then there's a guy's corner where you're going over and checking stuff out that doesn't feel like you're wandering through Hobby Lobby all the time with nothing to do. So we're not going to be pouring beer and having ESPN on, but there'll still be good stuff there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we just want to, with the spot that we're doing with the radio, we just want to bring attention to like people that have like stuck it out, kind of the unsung hero. And I'm not saying that Wes is a unsung hero, but he was definitely a staple in Lincoln for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty excited for everybody out there listening to kind of reconnect and him share kind of his story. And I mean, I'll pass it off to him here in a second, but this was your, how many years? And this was your last year, just retired.
It was 32 years that I was in business.
Yep.
But I've been doing cards basically since I was like 16. So the last 40 years, been working with cards and stuff. And that was my dream growing up, was to own my own shop, and worked really hard and it worked out. So
Wes is a legend. I'm just throwing it out there. You are not unsung. You are a legend of Nebraska. Like when they said that you were coming in, it's like it hits right to my childhood. Like I think back, I was there the very first day Wes's baseball cards opened. I was there that day. I remember it to this day. Pulled a Barry Sanders Pro Set rookie card out. Wow. Wasn't the score rookie card, but hey, we can't be all that.
We can't be pickers and choosers.
Yeah, I was happy just to get the Pro Set rookie card. Because I believe it was 1989. 89 was 89. I knew the card. So that there, but even before that, Wes was like that guy. He was the baseball card guy. I think Lincoln Journal Star did a story on you when you were like maybe still in high school, maybe, or even college, but
it was in college.
Yeah. And like it was like, Wes, that's the guy right there. But it's just it hits home with me. Just I know there's a lot of guys, a lot of girls in Lincoln that grew up with Wes. Like I was 16 years old the first time I walked into, so it's wild. Now I'm sitting here at 49. When I saw it earlier this year, I think you announced it like October or
end of November. End of October it was.
You kind of announced that you're going to retire. And
yes.
I'll tell you what, that's one of those things where you're just like, whoa, that's kind of a shot to the heart a little bit. I'm like,
it's still a little shock to the heart of myself too. So I really, really enjoyed doing everything and working with people and meeting people. It's also amazing, like when you said that you came in the very first day, it's amazing on how many people I've seen that have come into my store that now have kids and have their kids coming in and helping them collect cards. That was a lot of fun.
Wes, you got Chase B that texted and he goes, Wes, your FedEx driver is a coworker of mine. I filled in for him from time to time. Love your store.
Well, thank you very much.
Love your shop.
Really appreciate that.
Wes, okay, you grew up where?
I was actually born here in Lincoln, moved away for a little bit, and then moved back in 1979. So, I mean, basically been here.
Where'd you go to high school?
Lincoln East.
We'll forgive you.
So
These Lincoln High guys
I
are
was
so.
gonna say, any school other than Lincoln High was going to get that response.
Is there another school that matters?
Yeah, exactly. They named Seacrest Field after Aaron Davis. Actually.
When you said as much as I did, they name it after you.
Exactly.
Was okay. It's such a fine niche in cards.
yes.
When did you talked about when you were 14 is when you kind of started?
It was about 14, and then 16 was like, hey, I want to own my own store.
So what prompted that? Was your parents or grandfather, brothers? Who was the card collector that got you started with it?
Really nobody. I was actually back in 1977
Yeah.
when I lived in Maryland. I went to a friend's house and went in their basement. They had a little toy oven, and inside the toy oven was baseball cards.
Oh wow.
1974, 75, 76, 77 cards. I'm like, ooh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at them and like, hey, I'd like to collect them. And that's when it clicked.
It clicked.
Yep.
And so, and to start your store, okay, so you go through high school, and this itch, it just keeps itching.
Yes.
When did you say, okay, I'm going to start a store?
Really, so going back just a little bit,
Mhm.
I helped this guy do card shows. It was called Jeff's Card Shop.
Was that here in Lincoln?
It was here in Lincoln. He did it out of his basement from
Okay.
1982 to 87.
Okay.
Then in 1987, there was a guy that wanted to open up his own store, and his name was Merle, and he opened up what was called Merle's Baseball Cards in 1987. And so I went out to his house at first and looked at some of his stuff, and he really liked me at the time. And he's like, hey, do you want a job? He goes, I can give you a job I can get it to you a job for 6 months. But after that, he goes, I don't know how things are going to go. I said, sure. So I went out, and his place was on 48th and Cornhusker Highway.
Wow.
And started working for him from 87 to 90. And then the big thing was my dad went, I was 24, and he's like, hey, what do you want to do in life? I go, well, I'd like to own my own store. And he's like, hey, why don't you go and try it? He goes, you never know until you try it.
Love it.
So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go try it. So in November of 1990 is when I opened up my store.
So how did you find the property? Was it just something, a space that was available?
I was just looking different places. I knew East High area.
Yeah.
And so was looking around East High, and first I sort of saw a spot up at 70th and A Street, but that was a little bit too big. And then found the place that was at 70th and O, right behind Taco Inn.
Wow.
He said it. It was within 50 feet of Taco Inn.
That's the kicker.
You got to make a business decision.
Yeah.
No, that.
So you've had a lot of Taco Inn over the years, then, right?
Yes, I love Taco Inn.
we were happy about it too, because we kind of lived out south. So it was one of those things when Merle's was way out on 40th and Cornhusker, you had to find that one mom, like maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, to be like, will you drive us out to Merle's today? So then once you moved over to more inwards, it was like, okay, a little bit easier to get parents to drive us to go get baseball cards. So.
Wow. Wes J. in Lincoln says, Wes sold cards to me and then my son, Dawson. Started collecting through him. I actually pulled a really expensive Jordan insert that was cut badly, and Wes advised me on how to possibly get it replaced. It was replaced. I got to keep the card. Then I traded them to Wes. Great guy, great store.
Yep, I remember that.
You remember that? So what does he mean by the insert that was cut badly? What does that mean?
Well, it's a card that's in one of the packs. It's not one of the normal cards.
Uh-huh.
And it was cut off center. And so wanted to get it replaced. And so you could go ahead and send it back to the manufacturer and get it done. So I helped him do that.
What would that card you think run today?
I don't remember. I don't know.
I was gonna ask this: most valuable card that you've ever
seen? Good question.
Well, the most
valuable, both sentimental wise, and then also dollar sign.
Okay, I held the Honus Wagner card.
Okay,
did that about 10 years ago at a conference, and that was really neat to hang on to the Honus Wagner card.
What's the value?
Last time I know something was over $5 million, but it's probably more than that. It all depends on which one it is and what type of grade it is.
Gotcha.
So,
And you had the card last year that was pretty popular there for a little while. The was it Justin Herbert and the three autograph one?
well, I didn't. Somebody pulled that out.
But it was at your store that you'd seen it though. That
Yes.
that was
Oh,
pretty.
wow.
Somebody pulled it. It was a 1-of-1 with all 3 top quarterbacks with Herbert, Burrow, and Tua. And it was a 1-of-1. And it sold for, I mean, at one time it was probably about $30,000.
Hello.
What about like through the years that you owned your store? Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of baseball cards? Because I know there for a while it was like kind of rough.
A big thing is rookie cards. When people do well, the rookies do well. That also helps things out. But I mean, the big boom was the late '80s, early '90s. And then when the baseball strike happened, that's when things went down. And I remember in 94, 95, I was like, I can go work someplace else. I'm not making really any money. Luckily, my wife was a teacher and had a steady job and insurance. So that was huge. And so that was a big downfall. And then when Kobe came in 96, 97, that helped. 98 was Peyton Manning's rookie. That helped.
Oh, wow.
Then 2004 with Roethlisberger, Eli Manning. Those were some good years. 2010 was a big year. Went way up and way back down. Steven Strasburg. When he came to the league, he was huge. And then when he got hurt, all of a sudden, cards just took a dump. And so things go up and down. So,
You think about the up and down. I mean, 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, COVID. How did that impact your business? How did you pivot?
Really with COVID, I really thought things were going to go down. And usually when people are out of work and not doing things, I thought, oh, here we go again. Back to like 2008, the recession.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, instead, people are at home, still working and not going out to eat, not going to movies, not doing anything. All of a sudden started to have some money in their account. Guess what happened? All of a sudden people were like, hey, let me go in my closet and see if I had some cards.
More time on their hands.
More time on their hands. And all of a sudden things just took off.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just a blessing to have that happen.
Were people out in the store during that time?
I pretty much let everybody come in.
Yeah.
There was only like a day or two I was like, hey, no, not come in. But they'd come to the door and then it's like, oh, just forget it. Just come on in.
Yeah. You good? I'm good.
Just come on in.
Well, I think about this. And I was a store still. Now you retired. You sold it.
I sold my inventory.
Okay.
And then there's now a new person that went in and put a shop there. His name's Luke, and it's called Banger Sports Cards. Fantastic. He's 22. He's sort of like me growing up.
We love 22-year-olds. Those ambitious young fellas.
He has the drive of doing a really good job. So I'm very happy that he went in.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Brian T texted in and says, only went to the shop once, but was able to find my favorite Bo Jackson card ever. And a Jason Hayward. Is everybody saying Jason Hayward card? I didn't see the HEW rookie card from my dad, Brian T. There are so many people, Wes, that I'm sure that I know that have those interactions with you. And you created a pastime, a hobby with some that they've passed on to their kids, And so I kind of just echo what Jake said. Definitely a legend, just like the cards that you traded and sold, and definitely legend status.
The thing I got to say is it's the people coming in. I mean, to me, it wasn't always about having the sale and going, oh, I need to sell this or sell that or whatever. To me, it was more the relationship of the people coming in and talking to them, finding out what they do, what they did, and knowing their kids. And I mean, there's people I've gone to their kids' sporting events and stuff. And
Wow.
I've had fun doing that. I love sports. I love talking to people. And so it's been a blessing.
You know, I definitely want to ask you this before we cut. I think we got a few more minutes, don't we, Jake? Nick. Got a few.
Whatever.
Jake was like, I have no idea, dude. So you got Jake and Jake. Who was probably the most famous athlete you met? Because I know the card shows. I mean, you came across a lot of other collectors, store owners, etc. I'm sure, and maybe I'm wrong, athletes that came and signed those cards. Who was the person that you met? You were kind of like, wow.
I would have to say I got to meet Joe Namath, and that was at a conference in Hawaii, and it was a very interesting story. So we all were lined up, all us card dealers lined up, waiting to get a picture taken with him and stuff, and all of a sudden he walks on over to us, and he goes and I was there with my wife, and he goes around and he puts his arm around my wife's like, so who's this guy next to you?
Susie Colbert part 2.
Oh, Broadway Joe.
That was Joe Namath back in 2000 when he sort of had some things going on. But anyway, walked up and then he goes, hey, so where are you from? And I go, Nebraska. He goes, oh, Cornhusker fans. I'm like, yep. Just really nice to meet him.
This is a great picture right there. Jake just lit us a picture of Wes and his wife and Broadway Joe himself, Joe Namath, right there. Raph is going to show it on if you're watching on the stream, you can see it.
There we go.
That is a great picture right there. That is a great picture.
That's awesome.
Also, just want to say hi to my wife that's out there.
Oh,
she's listening today.
Wise man.
Shout outs are key.
Wise man.
She's an amazing woman. So.
Yes. Miss Johnson, thank you for the shout out there as well. You and Wes created a lot of happy memories for a lot of people over the years. And to think about what you did as a couple, although you don't have the store anymore together as a couple, those memories you created will go on. And that's what it's about. Those memories will keep going on.
Also, I just want to go back a little bit about the store for a minute.
Please.
I just want to say another thing about my dad really helped me get things going. But also, I want to tell people out there that, I mean, if you have a passion and there's something out there that you want to do,
right,
go do it. Put your mind and heart to it. And I think if you put your mind and heart to it, you can do anything out there that you want to do. So
I love it.
Remember that.
Wes, what you just said ties into how we started the show with Nick. It's Nick's birthday today. That's why we're saying 22. It's his 22nd birthday.
Happy birthday.
Old Man River.
Yeah. And he talked about that. He knows what he wants to do. Us in the station know what he wants to do. And Nick, if nothing else, you heard from a guy right there who a span of over 25 years. How long was the store there? From
32.
32 years, about your age, actually younger than you, and said, this is what I'm going to do. Ignored the naysayers and the doubters and the rest of that, and said, I'm going to do this. You hustled and grind and you did it. And you have 32 plus years of memories, man. I mean, I love stories. I mean, what you just said, I'm 49 years old, and that gift, I got some things I still want to do. Just like, I'm done with the radio show. Let's go, man. Let's go. I love stories like that, though, what you did, and what like I said, the memories you've passed on to so many. And I'm going to say here, right, like, anyone listening wants to nominate someone who deserves to tell their success story, you can email tradelegends@gmail.com. Again, that's tradelegends@gmail.com. That's TRADE legends, LEGENDS @gmail.com. Each month, Jave gives a $50 gift card to Tailored Life, the new store in Bennett, to the month's nominee. So make sure you do that. Again, email someone you think that's deserving to be nominated to tradelegends@gmail.com. Jake gives out that $50 gift card to the Tailored Life, his new store that'll be in Bennett. They also have a guy's corner. So guys, you're thinking, man, I don't want to go there. Jake and his team have got you covered. Folks, again, a big shout out to Wes Johnson and his bride and everyone that helped him out and the memories you created. Thank you for coming into this morning. Appreciate you both, man. And Jake, thank you for getting involved in the community, man.
I didn't even get to ask the biggest question in the morning.
Oh, go ahead.
He won't answer it, but how many packs of cards have you opened up in your lifetime?
Oh, wow.
I've never thought about that.
See, that was an open-ended question.
A lot.
A lot.
back back to the whole wife thing. We don't answer questions like that in public.
Oh yeah. Good point.
Folks, again, we want to thank Jake Sittner of Tailored Landscapes. We also want to thank today's award winner, Wes Johnson, of being recognized and the many of years of service he created. Thank you guys again for investing in the community. Folks, you're on the Drive with AD and Raff on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back.